All right, here's how confident Nancy Pelosi is that they can't score a deal in the next 2 weeks. She already has urged the president to postpone, if not just send in writing, his State of the Union address. I want to talk to the newly minted senator from the beautiful state of Florida, the former governor as well, Rick Scott. Senator, welcome to you. Congratulations.
Thank you. Boy, this place does not work, Neil. It's completely dysfunctional. Here's what they say. You talk to people up here, everybody says, we need border security. We want government to open up, but we can't vote on it. We can't get any of this stuff done. You would never do this in your business life. And we didn't do it when I was a governor. And on top of that, they get paid. I'm a co-sponsor of a bill that says, you don't pass a budget, you don't get paid up here. Why would you get paid if you're not doing your job? So it's pretty frustrating right now.
Would that apply to Republicans as well, then, because many of them are getting a lot of the heat for this as well?
Yeah, I mean, think about it. We have hundreds of thousands of people not getting paid, but Congress gets paid. Republican or Democrat, you shouldn't get paid. So I co-sponsored a bill that says just that. I have co-sponsored a bill to get our Coast Guard get paid. It's the only military individuals that are not getting paid. I've got 5,000 of them in Florida. They're defending our border. They're watching all the drug interdiction in Latin America, and they're not getting paid. How does that make any sense?
All right. Now, when Nancy Pelosi urges the president to maybe postpone, if not just send in writing his State of the Union address, what do you think?
I think that's wrong. We ought to have a State of the Union address. The president ought to explain what's happened with our economy. The tax cuts that were passed have had a big impact on our economy. We're one of the few economies in the world doing this well. And why wouldn't he get up there and explain all the good things that are happening? At the same time, be frustrated. He can't fund the border by himself. Congress has to fund the border. He should get up there and say, I'm disappointed that Congress is not funding this. It's national security. We know our border needs to be secure. You guys all agree with me. Let's get it done.
All right. We're going to be monitoring Chuck Schumer very closely, sir, what he's saying about what Democrats might or might not offer to resolve this. It doesn't look like it will be resolved soon. Our credit rating hangs in the balance here. If we lose that AAA rating, who do you blame that on?
I blame it on Congress. I mean, the president's got to use all of his power to get this done. All right. Congress is the only one that can fund the border. Congress is the only one that can open up government. They need to go do their job. It makes no sense what's going on. And think about it, they're talking about doing a recess. If in my business life, I'd say if we have a problem, we're all staying here until we get it resolved. We shouldn't go home. We should all stay here to get this done.
All right. Well, that doesn't seem to be the offer for the time being, Senator. So I'm curious. All of this occurs at the same time the president is meeting with some of your colleagues to discuss what happened in Syria, the killing of these soldiers, and a reminder to some that maybe ISIS and terrorist elements are more active and stronger than we think. Do you think the president made a mistake saying that ISIS was defeated?
Well, I think that we need to listen to our generals. We've got the best military in the world. We need to listen to them. He needs to take advice from them. He is the commander-in-chief, so he gets to make the final decision.
Well, we're told to a man, they told him that it was not a wise move to pull out the way he did and the timeline that he did. You say?
I'd listen to the generals. I mean, it's very concerning to me the way that they're talking about pulling out. So I would stop. What are my generals telling me? Get as much advice as he can, and then make the best decision. But right now, it sure seems like we ought to be really rethinking what we're doing in Syria.
Do you think ISIS, or morphing into something else, Senator, is now regrouping?
Neil, what we know, there's a lot of people there that want to harm us. I would rather have our fights over there than in the United States. And so we've got to figure out how to do everything we can to keep the terrorism out of this country.
Well, let me switch gears if I go back to your state of Florida. You're aware that your successor has suspended Sheriff Israel, of course, who was there for the high school shooting last year, saying that he essentially botched it. We've talked to a number of parents of those who were killed who agree with that move. The sheriff is planning to aggressively challenge that. Your thoughts?
Well, your heart goes out to those families. I've gotten to become very close with many of those individuals. I can't imagine losing a child or a grandchild, so your heart goes out to them. We passed a very aggressive school safety bill right after that, and I know that's being implemented around the state. I hope it never happens again.
All right, but it does happen, unfortunately, in other areas, and you are right to be right on top of it and try to institute new laws in your state. The most rapid turnaround we've seen in any school shooting, post-a-school shooting. But a part of the governor's thinking, the new governor's thinking, was that we're too politically correct about dealing with wayward students or those who should be watched more closely, but aren't.
Yeah. There was a promise program that it sure appears that they've allowed that student to not have the accountability that they should have had. That's why what I did is right after it happened, I sat down with mental health counselors, with sheriffs, police chiefs, other law enforcement, and also with educators to come up with a bill that would address all these issues. And so, I mean, I just can't imagine what these parents are going through. My heart still goes out to them. I just hope it never happens again.
Senator, a number of drug companies, I hasten back to your days when you ran Columbia Health, that have been raising drug prices. The president was critical of that when one or two of them tried it. Now better than 24 companies have tried it. Do you think they're getting a little too greedy?
Well, so we have to figure out how we drive down the cost of drugs. If you care about people getting health care, which as a provider when I was in the hospital industry, I wanted people to get health care. I want people to get health care. Part of the problem with getting health care is it's too expensive. Right. And so we've got to figure out how to do this less expensively. Drug prices are too high. So that's something I'm going to focus on here is how do we drive down the cost of drugs?
All right. Senator, Governor, thank you very, very much.
Thanks,
congratulations, Neil. As you land in Washington in the middle of a shutdown.